friends, welcome to GS Core. This is Virat. Today we will be discussing the most effective 100-day study plan for UPSC Prelims. Our study plan will be based upon four components: hard work, smart planning, discipline, and effective revision. This will be our four components, and we will see to it that with the help of these four components and with the help of the plan that we have made based upon it, you are able to clear your prelims examination. You basically are able to clear your prelims examination. More or less 100 days we do have now, more or less, for appearing for your UPSC prelims examination. Now it may, to some aspirants, okay, this particular ring of bell, when it comes to 100 days now, for some aspirants it may press the panic button. It may lead to you pressing the panic button, but there is no need for it. Basically 100 days is more than enough, taking more or less into consideration that you have studied most of the subject from the point of view of mains examination till now. 100 days is more than enough for you to clear your prelims examination. Even if some of the subjects are remaining, don't worry about that. We will discuss how to get over them and effectively gain marks through them. All right, so 100 days, first and foremost, please remember, it is more than enough for you to clear your examination. What is though needed is focus upon structured study plan. Focus upon structured study plan which concentrates upon concepts, which basically concentrates upon concepts, revision of those concepts, and effective utilization of test, be it topical test, be it mock test. Take effective utilization of test. We'll look into that also as to how tests are used. We will be getting into detailed videos on all these topics, but today we will have a generalized view, more or less a generalized view. Also, what has to be taken into consideration in the next 100 days is balance between your static syllabus and current affairs. All right, more or less the voices that you will be hearing, voices that you will be hearing is the importance of current affairs has been declined over the period of time. The same is not true. Let me tell you, the same is not true. ठीक है, current affairs देखो, current affairs there are direct current affairs, there are indirect current affairs. Direct current affairs is if a particular book has been released, as it was asked last year. A question was asked on the book of S. J. Shankar. The reason for that was the books of S. J. Shankar were in the last 1 year released. Hence, those particular questions appear. So they are direct current affairs. Indirect current affairs is when something is in news. Take a static syllabus related to that is asked in the examination. Alright, so in that way, now current affairs importance is actually increased and not decreased. The importance of current affairs basically is increased and not decreased. Hence, proper attention has to be paid to current affairs also. And last, I would say, study plan of yours has to be basically based on weightage that a particular subject carries in UPSC examination. Adding to this particular concept of weightage, or this particular idea of weightage, what I will also do is I will say your own orientation towards the subject. All right, देखो, I will focus upon a particular subject. If UPSC has the tendency of asking questions on that particular subject, ठीक है, I will focus upon that subject even more if I am conscious that the content of this subject is something that I am inclined to, is something that I can digest easily, and therefore processing of information with respect to that subject of mine is good. ठीक है, the way in which questions are asked for the past few years in UPSC examination, now for prelims, they are based upon processing of the information rather than information being asked directly to you. There are questions in which factual information is directly asked, but more or less now you have to use your analytical abilities. You have to basically use your analytical abilities. Hence, what you also should push towards is how to utilize your liking towards the content for the purpose of gaining more marks. All right, for example, suppose if I had to write my exam this year, my orientation will be more towards polity, my orientation will be more towards geography, my orientation will be more towards economics. All right, other subjects, say modern Indian history, I do like. All right, I do like. But what is the problem with respect to modern Indian history at this point of time? Not many questions are asked from modern Indian history. So I will study modern Indian history. But my orientation towards modern Indian history or my focus upon modern Indian history will not be as much as my focus upon polity or say my focus upon economy, because questions in bulk are from this particular subject. Now, other thing is, again, again, my liking towards a subject like science, it is not that much. Frankly speaking, it is not that much. Hence, what I will do is, with respect to science, I will only focus upon basic information. Okay. Why? Because processing of the information from the subject of science is not natural to me. I'm not saying that leave it completely. No, that is not the case. Though what I will not do is I will not put in efforts in science as much as it is required in polity or say economics. ठीक है, और इवन फॉर दैट मैटर मॉडर्न इंडियन हिस्ट्री. ठीक है, साइंस से क्वेश्चन आता है बट नॉट दैट मच क्वेश्चंस आर. All right, and plus my orientation is not towards that subject now, so even if I read facts, processing of those particular facts will not naturally happen. All right, hence what I will do is I will categorize my subject. My first category subject basically will be those which from which questions are also asked and my liking is also oriented towards it. Okay, second category subject of mine will be those subjects, will basically be those subjects towards which I have orientation, I have liking, I can digest that subject very well, but questions that many are not. And then the third subject will be जिसकी तरफ मेरा orientation नहीं है. I am not oriented towards those particular subjects. Now here, please let me remind you, apart from orientation or before orientation, what matters? Weightage. ठीक है. So if science was to be the subject ना जिससे 15 to 20 questions will be asked every year, I will study science. But here I have that liberty. I basically have that liberty of, to an extent, ignoring science, not totally ignoring it, but focusing upon, basically focusing upon its most fundamental part. Because if those are asked and they are asked in the examination, what I am at liberty to answer them and not completely skip a particular subject. You have to be very focused upon the subjects that you are attentive to, and second is subjects that you will be focusing upon in the examination also. All right, while reading also and while writing your examination also. Now, what your orientation will be, that is very important, and towards different subjects, that is basically very important. देखो, in prelims examination now there is one good thing, and that is you do not need to give equal attention to all that subject that is required in the mains exam. In mains examination you have to basically attempt every question. In prelims that is not the requirement. In prelims you can choose the subjects towards which you will pay more attention, and you can also choose the subject that you are not able to play with them, and hence leave them behind to an extent. All right, leave them behind to an extent. Okay. What I will suggest is, what my suggestion towards you to you is, the subjects that are good in weightage and you also have orientation. Now, in those particular subjects, there should be two readings as such plus two revisions. Two readings and two revisions. The subjects that you are good at, but not, UPSC is not oriented towards that subject. Matlab UPSC does not ask that many questions from those subjects. Now, in that, I will say one reading plus two revisions. That is more than. Okay. And the subjects through which questions that many do not appear and you are also not oriented towards that subject. Now, I will say one reading and one revision. That is more than enough. That basically is more than enough. Okay. Now, how it has to be done, we'll get to it. Check. Here, what I have done is I have showcased how many days you have to allot out of your 100 days for the purpose of conceptual clarity, for the purpose of revision, for the purpose of test writing. Now, remember over here, it is not compulsory to utilize this number of days successfully. Nahi. Okay. So, for example, focusing on weak areas, it is not necessary that we will do it at the end itself, or 30 days for the purpose of 30 days for revision and mock. It is not compulsory that it has to be done 60 days after your conceptual clarity has happened. Nahi. What you have to do is you have to squeezing these days between each other. Okay. So for a certain number of days, you have to go after conceptual clarity, then come to revision, and then come to math, and then again come to conceptual clarity. For example, if I am studying polity, now, if I am studying polity, so overall, if I give 15 days to polity, overall, from today, if I give 15 days to polity, what my aim will be, what my basic aim will be, first and foremost, to complete polity in 10 days. First reading of polity should be completed in 10 days. So that relates to my conceptual clarity, right? Second, what I will do is, second, basically, what I will do is, out of the 5 days that are remaining, now, I will provide 4 days to focus upon revision of polity, or second reading of polity. But this second reading has to be based upon the topics that are extremely important from the point of view of examination. I'll explain it to you. Okay. So 15 days I am providing basically for polity. All right, 15 days I am providing basically for polity. Okay. Out of those 15 days, 10 days, just a minute, guys. Ten days have to be for the purpose of conceptual clarity. All right. After that, what I will be doing is, what basically I will be doing is, I will be providing 4 days out of the remaining 5 days for the purpose of concentrating upon second reading. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I am bad with spelling, guys. I will focus upon second reading. All right. How it has to be done, I'll let you know. Now, it is not such a great problem to complete second reading in 4 days. There is a technique I will teach you. Don't worry. Okay. And the last day, what I will do is, I will focus upon, I will basically focus upon full test of polity. In between this 15 days, what I will also do is, I will focus upon sectional tests. Sectional test. What is sectional test? What are basically sectional tests? Sectional tests are those that focus upon certain sections in a particular subject. All right, those focus upon certain sections, certain topics of a particular subject. All right, so this will be overall orientation of mind towards the subject of polity. Okay. Now, how it has to be done? How basically it has to be done? When I am going through my first 15 days, now what I will do is, I will start my day. I will basically start my day. So sorry. I'll basically start my day with MCQs. MCQs से ज़्यादा I will say first I will start it with PY. I'll start my day with PYQs. Now, at this stage where we are located, what I will be doing is, I will be first and foremost planning my day according to the topics that I need to cover. Never ever focus upon number of pages that you will write. Focus upon the conceptual clarity you will be getting on a particular day. So if I have provided 15 days for polity, in that I have provided 10 days for conceptual clarity. Now every day I have to plan. Once I go through my book, now every day I have to plan according to number of concepts that I will be covering. Okay. Now based upon the number of concepts I will be covering, now I will focus upon the questions related to those particular concepts in PYQ. Okay. And through that, what I will try to understand is three things. I will first and foremost try to understand demand of UPSC. When I say demand of UPSC, now out of the concepts that I will be studying today, I will notice, or I will take into consideration which are those concepts which are frequently asked by UPSC. Automatically, what will happen is, my focus will increase towards those particular concepts. All right, it will increase towards those particular concepts. Second thing, when I say demand, now I should also understand what is the line of inquiry. What basically is the line of inquiry when it comes to that particular concept. For example, if I take into consideration UPSC's orientation towards parliamentary democracy. Now, this question has been asked 4 or 5 times in the last 10 years, and more or less, the demand of the question is the same. All right, what is the demand? They want to know, they want you to know basically what is the definition of parliamentary democracy. Now, if I read parliamentary democracy, now automatically what will happen is my orientation will be towards understanding the definition of it, towards understanding the core meaning of it. UPSC at this point of time is not interested in you knowing the merits and demerits of parliamentary democracy, right? It is interested in you in such a way that it wants you to basically read, the definition and understand the definition of parliamentary democracy, and of course ठीक है थोड़ा processing of that information, third thing what I will try to understand is the way in which questions on a particular concept are, ठीक है देखो UPSC basically the line of asking na, it is based upon first and foremost content, ठीक है what type of content is expected from you, and second is the way in which that content is asked, मतलब the way in which the question is drafted. If you carefully go into it now, if you carefully focus upon it now, what you will basically notice is overall the way in which a content is asked, the way in which questions on a particular themes are asked, that do not change. ठीक है, if you ask me what is UPSC more oriented towards changing, मतलब is it the line of inquiry of the content or the manner in which the question is framed? So the manner in which question is framed now, that is more likely to be changed, but even that happens over the period of time. It will happen over the period of time. So if from a particular topic multiple statement questions are asked now, multiple statement questions with analytical orientation, then you will notice from that topic over the period of time UPSC continues to ask question in the same manner. Yes, it will change, but it will not change all of a sudden. It will basically not change all of a sudden. ठीक है, so you need to understand these three demands when you go through PY. ठीक है, then I want you to read the content. Reading the content again depends upon your ability to effectively focus upon what you are reading. ठीक है, so if you are comfortable, if you are basically comfortable in covering certain areas or certain concepts, and time required for that is suppose 4 hours, so I will say plan according to 4 hours. ठीक है, don't squeeze unnecessary, don't squeeze unlimited numbers of concepts in a small period of time. So for example, time required by me to cover certain number of concepts is 8 hours now, and if I know I will be studying or I will be going through the book of polity for 4 hours only, I should not squeeze the demand of 8 hours into 4 hours. That will not be fruitful. So पहले go through PYQs, at least 50 PYQs daily. This is non-negotiable. At least 50 PYQs daily. If 50 questions are not available on the concept, on the topic that you are reading, then you can also take into consideration questions from other topics. That is completely fine. But what I will say is, ideally take into consideration 50 PYQs of the topics on which you will be focusing upon on that particular day. All right, so your orientation, your subconscious mind will pick up those type of informations. All right, your mind will pick up the information in the manner in which questions are framed by UPSC. ठीक है, and you will also start noticing as you go ahead now, as you keep reading, questions start framing questions will start framing in your mind itself, and that is where I will say you get the first assurance of clearing the prelims. All right, you will basically get the first assurance of clearing the prelims. All right, second thing what I would also suggest is, after you're done with your reading of the concepts now, then in the evening I want you to go through at least 50 MCQs. I want you to go through at least 50 MCQs on those topics. Now these MCQs basically could be from any question bank for that matter. All right, Now what these MCQs will do, these MCQs will help you in revising what you have done for the whole day. ठीक है, तो first revision I will say, not first revision which we have stated, which we have basically stated, but in a way na first cementing of the information from the point of view of examination, from the point of view of examination of prelims will happen on that day itself. देखो problem with respect to prelims is that now it is foreign to us when it comes to the manner in which we write examinations. ठीक है, we have studied in a way in which we study and then we write answers. Prelims is about identifying the answers. All right, prelims is about identifying the answers. So what is needed to be done? Identification of information which can be used for the purpose of framing questions. Now that has to be used. So 50 questions in the morning, that is PYQ, and 50 questions in the evening, that may be through any question bank for that matter. What it will do is it will help you. It will basically help you. So this is the first cementing of information that you will basically have. Okay, and repeat the process. Now once you have gone through 10 days of concept building, for example, for polity, the whole book of polity has been completed by you in 10 days or 12 days, depending upon your ability. Now, this 15 days is not compulsorily, entrusted upon you. It may take you, say 17 days, 18 days, 20 days, whatever it might be, depending upon your orientation towards a particular subject, your orientation towards a particular topic. So, for example, if you complete the first reading, say in 12 days, okay, what now will happen is, because you have analyzed PYQ, because you have analyzed MCQs through question bank, you know what type of information you need to focus upon, and therefore the second reading of yours now it will be good. So in second reading, what I will say is more or less focus upon those topics, from the book itself, which are important from examination point of view. In second reading, I will basically not suggest you to go through the whole of it. I will not basically suggest you to go through the whole of the book. I will suggest you to focus upon those topics. Now, as I told you again, I am repeating it again. That will provide you premium. That will provide you return on investment. All right, that will basically provide you return on investment. All right, and then go to the next subject. All right, so 2 readings of a subject like polity has to happen there. Of a subject like economy has to happen there and there in one set. Okay, in one set. It cannot be the case that you are reading polity and then you are coming back for second reading after maybe 10 to 15 days or 20 days. It will not help you in analyzing the information. It will not help you in internalizing the information. All right. Now let us basically move to. So we have done with this PYQ analysis, solving MCQs, subject study. With respect to current affairs, what I will suggest. With respect to current affairs, what basically I will suggest. देखो, current affairs of 2024 wholly is important for the prelims of 2020. No question about it. तो पूरा 2024 का current affairs is important for you. I will not basically suggest you to go through newspaper cuttings or newspaper articles of 2024. That is not possible. That is not basically possible. What I will suggest you is to focus upon current affairs compilations. And when I say current affairs compilation, you can use the compilation of any institute. You can, I am not basically here advertising, but you can use Prelims Sampurna of GS. It will be available. It is available on our website. You can utilize Prelims Sampurna compilation of GS score. We have provided basically combination of current affairs and static syllabus in our compilation. So current affairs, what has happened? Suppose, for example, president has issued an ordinance. Okay, I'm just giving an example. So suppose we have provided, current affairs have provided that president has promulgated ordinance. What we have done is we have provided you information related to that ordinance, but we have also focused upon ordinance making power of president, because president, if he or she has promulgated ordinance, now UPSC may ask you question directly related to the contents of that ordinance, or what it can do is it can ask you questions related to ordinance making power of the president, which is in static, which basically in static. Okay. So for the current affairs of 1 year, that is from January 2024 to December 2024, now I will not ask you to go back to monthly magazines or newspaper of that particular time. Read the compilation. You can read GS score ka compilation. It is more than enough. Okay. It is basically more than enough. You can take into consideration also reviews that have been provided to us by our previous students. Okay. Second is, from now till examination, what I would suggest you is continue with your newspaper readings. Continue with your newspaper readings. And then what you can do is you can use monthly magazines. You can use monthly magazines for the purpose of revising what you have read in newspapers. Also, because some magazines now they will provide you information more than what is required. So if you have background of newspapers, if you basically have background of newspapers, you will know where to limit yourself basically in the magazines, and you will not fall prey to the marketing gimmick of providing more information than what is needed. That is done by some magazines. I don't want to get into the names of those magazines. All right. So it will again solidify. It will again, what it will do is basically solidify your base in current affairs. And lastly, when the last 100 days will be there, or say the last 30 days will be this, not 100 days, 100 days mein to abhi hum log hai. Last 30 days when they will be left, now what you can basically do is you can use exam oriented compilation. So it will contain current affairs of 1.5 years. Exam oriented compilation. Now please remember one more thing. Exam oriented compilation, even if it contains current affairs of the last 1.5 years, now I will not recommend you to skip this two and directly go to this. Why? Because it will be very difficult for you to digest so much of actual information, so much of static information connected to the current information that is given to you. All right. So I will not suggest you that. Let it be more of step by step orientation towards current affairs. Take it. So basically take baby steps towards current affairs. No problem, no issues with respect to that. So first is Prelims Sampurna or any 1 year compilation right now. After that, monthly magazines. Obviously, it has to be done in the background of newspapers. If you are a working professional and if you are writing examination this year, it is completely fine to skip newspaper. But those who are full-time aspirants, I will want you to get to that extra mile. I will want you to take that extra step. And lastly, exam oriented compilation. This is more than enough. One thing, most of the magazines, for example magazines of GS score, now what they will also do is they will provide you practice questions. This is very important. So for example, what we do is in our compilation, in our magazines, we draft questions according to the demand of UPSC. According to the demand and according to the way in which UPSC wants you to know current affairs. We draft questions accordingly. I want you to solve these questions. I want you to basically solve these questions. If this is done by you, if this much is done by you, take it from me, current affairs say you will not have problem. Okay, this I will say with 100% sure. You will not have problem with respect to current affairs. Be it a direct question, be it a direct question for current affairs, be it indirect question for current affairs. It does not matter. Okay. Lastly, what I will also suggest is, mock tests. Revision pay we will come, don't worry. What I will also suggest is mock test every week. Now, when I say mock test every week, now don't start with full mocks at the start of it itself. Okay, at the start of the preparation itself. Don't do it. Okay, there are two things. There are basically two things. One is testing yourself and other is improving your technique. All right. What I will basically say is that both are important. Suppose if I am an aspiring cricketer, if basically I am an aspiring cricketer, what I will do is I will face 200 balls every day. Okay, at the same time, on every Sunday maybe I will play a cricket match with another team of my club. Okay, and that will prepare me for the tournament. Both are important. Now, देखो, what facing every day 200 ball will do? It will allow me to improve my technique, right? And what the match on every Sunday will do, it will allow me to improve my match awareness. improve my temperament. ठीक है, now both are important and therefore both have to be done at specific time. ठीक है, if I only focus upon playing 200 balls every day, I will not develop my temperament. If I only focus upon playing cricket matches as practice, what will happen is I will not develop my technique, because in match it is not possible. So going through those 50 questions, going through those 100 questions daily, it was necessary, but writing test is also necessary. One should not be sacrificed for other. What I would suggest is, at the initial stages, now one test per week is more than enough. Later what you can do is you can increase it, you can basically increase it to two tests. You can basically increase it to two tests per week, but not more than that. I will not suggest you more than that. I will basically not suggest you more than that. All right. So use this particular technique. Another thing, when you write your test now, in the initial test, what I want you to do is attempt as much questions as possible. Okay. Now I am not saying you should always do it. I am saying the initial stages. In the initial stages, now what I basically want you to do is attempt as many questions as possible. What that will do is it will let you know what line of thinking helps you in reaching the right answer and what line of thinking does not help you in reaching the right answer. ठीक है, देखो, looking at a particular question, now obviously your thinking will be triggered in a particular way. ठीक है, it may happen that one way of thinking helps you in getting the marks and other way of thinking does not help you in getting to to the aspired results, that is getting the question correct. It is the initial stages now that you have to figure out. Okay, it is this initial stages that you have to figure out. What I would say is, in the initial stages, attempt maximum questions in your test and look into first and foremost the silly mistakes that you have done. We will make a separate video, focused video upon it. ठीक है, अभी के लिए remember this. So first basically is focusing upon the silly mistakes that you do. Second is identify the line of technique. We will be there with you. If you want our assistance, yes, we are there with you. You can come and talk to us. You can basically come and talk to us about it. So we have to look into specific line of thinking that will help you in reaching the right answer. And also focus upon or try to identify the line of thinking that has not given you the aspired result, so that that line of thinking ultimately can be eliminated. Okay. Third, what I will say is, focus upon the areas. It will help you to know the areas that you are not good at. Okay. So that while you are revising now, you can pay more attention to those particular topics, especially if those topics are priority topics, if those topics are high topics. So if I get question wrong from a topic, say special officer on linguistic minority, okay, yes, I will go back and look into it. It is not as if I will completely throw that topic to head. I will not don't mind that much. But if I'm getting a question wrong, if I'm consistently getting my questions wrong from say fundamental rights, then that is something which I have to work upon, which I will work upon in my revision. Okay. Now, what has to be done when I say revision? What has to be done when I say revision? So first reading हो गया, second reading हो गया. Okay. Now remember this. First reading and second reading, wherever I have specified now. First and second reading, wherever I have specified, now these readings have to come from your books. Okay, from your books. Now remember here, books have to be minimum. Books have to be on the advice of mentor. Okay, I would say not more than one standard book. Not more than one standard book is required for any subject. It is not required for any subject. It may happen that sometimes you may have to rely only on NCERT. In some subjects, relying upon NCERTs is the only thing good. In some subject, what may happen is, apart from NCERT, you may require to read one. But that's all. Okay, that is all. You will not read more than one. Okay. And first and second reading, it has to be based upon the book. Now, where first reading is required and where second reading is required, I have already spoken about it. Okay. So in one go, now what I want you to do is, in priority subjects, do your first and second reading. We do your first and second reading successively. Okay. where only first reading is required, it's okay, completely fine, complete that subject and then go to the next subject. Once the round of all the subjects have been completed, once the round of all the subject has been completed, now then what you have to do is you have to focus upon revision. And revision, I would say, do not do it from your book. Revision has to be done through questions, mind maps, mind maps, and notes. All right. If you have not created your own notes, no problem. You can get it from GS. Okay, we will provide you prelim specific notes. We have created notes that only and only focus upon that information which is important for prelims. The point is though, if you directly get into those notes, you may not have the contextualization of it. You basically may not have contextualization of it. Hence, I will not suggest you to jump upon those notes directly. I will want you to read your books and then get to the notes. I will want you to read your books and then get to your notes. Okay, mind maps, we can provide you that also. To mind maps are like notes. Okay, it is even a miniature, miniature resemblance of the notes. You can use them. We have provided, we have created them. You basically can use them. Lastly, lastly, focus of the revision, as I told you, it has to be through your. ठीक है, जहां पे you feel you are not doing well and that topic is of importance, more focus in revision, more focus upon that particular topic. More focus has to be upon that particular topic. Also, as I told you, you have to go through 50 questions daily from a question bank. देखो, PYQs have to be done daily. You should just submerge yourself in the demand of UPSC. Once you do that, now let me tell you, it is a very rare chance that you are attempting the question and you are not able to understand where UPSC wants to take you in that particular question. It is very rare. So every day go through 50 PYQs in cyclic manner. Okay, in a cyclic manner. Second thing, what I will basically also suggest is every day go through 50 MCQs, which I had just discussed. Now, going through the MCQs, now as I told you, it will basically concretize your understanding of that topic from the point of view of MCQ examination. What it will also do is it will act as mini notes. So for example, in a particular question there are 4 statements, and out of those 4 statements, now three statements basically are correct and one statement is incorrect. Those 3 statements are notes, and you will remember that particular information. Now you will remember that information which is written in these 3 statements, because you will remember it for a longer period of time because you are looking at it from the point of view of a question. So what happens is your mind gets alerted and it looks at it from the point of view, or it understands it from the point of view of utility. All right. So this is what I will basically suggest. Moving on, this is the general, depending upon the number of questions that are asked. Now, depending upon the priority of the questions that are asked and general orientation of students towards different subjects. Now, what I have done is I have basically prepared how much days have to be allocated to which subject. Okay, it is not strict, it can differ according to you, but more or less I think this is the allocation that should be made. This is the allocation that basically should be made. All right. Okay, last 10 days, what I will say is focus only on revision, of course. Okay, on notes, on mind maps, whatever it is, focus only on revision and mock test. Last 10 days, now I have written here mock test, but here is a slight difference between the test that you will give in the first, say, 80 days, okay, and in the last 10 or 20 days. In the last 10 days, if you are writing a mock test, do not do not, do not look into the results of that mock test. It will not help. I will not suggest you that. I will basically not suggest you that. What you can do is, for the sake of keeping up with the practice, write the test. Second is avoid new topic. Absolutely, take it. Do not get into reading of a new topic. Do not get into reading of a new topic. Why? Because you will forget what you have already. Okay, you will forget. You will get confused. You will get panicked. Okay, and then boost your confidence. देखो prelims is basically about two things. It is about repeating again and again what you have done, and also having that confidence that if paper is difficult for me, it is difficult for everyone. What happens is most of the time in examination hall, you come under immense pressure when the paper is sort of difficult. Now you come under immense pressure, सिर्फ आपको नहीं आ रहा है, अरे नहीं भाई, सबको नहीं, ठीक है, that the paper is basically difficult for you. That is the basic level of confidence building that I will say, and it will again happen over the period of time. ठीक है, it will again happen over the period of time. So start internalizing the fact that you have studied enough, you have done well enough. ठीक है, now if the paper is difficult, now it will be difficult for everyone, not just you. All right, it will be basically be difficult for everyone, not just you. All right, so I will sum up now, I will conclude now. ठीक है, if there are any doubts, so the link of our telegram channel is basically provided in the description of this video. You can ask us questions, you can ask your doubts to us on that particular telegram ka link. If mentorship is required by me or any faculty of GS Core, will happily provide it to you. All right, you can come to us, no issues with respect to that. Thank you so much, best of luck, and let's move ahead with respect to prelims and see to it that the students that are associated with GS Core who are watching this video, they are able to clear the examination and move to the next. Thank you so much.